In this video, I'm gonna talk about Graveyard Keeper. Funny name, really. Okay, you are the Graveyard Keeper, that is true. You are also the local pastor. You are also a farmer. You are a woodcutter, a stone miner, a fighter, a fisherman, and God knows what else. I have to admit that even with all of this, you are still, first and foremost, a Graveyard Keeper. Okay, but before I get into this, why is it that the first thing I see on the main menu is a link to 3 DLC packages and an advertisement for another game? Good going. The first thing I see about Graveyard Keeper is, hey, look at all the bullshit you are missing out on. Actually, go play something else. Thank goodness I did not take the bait, because this is probably some of the finest pixel art this side of the nation. The game did not try to mimic the resolution of a Super Nintendo game. It went for the full as-is experience, and it limited its color palette to deliver a visual as crispy as the taste of a good Czech Pilsner with a handful of dry roasted peanuts. There is nothing else. There is resource gathering, planting your crops, and upgrading your workshops. They are staples of the genre, and their presence is a surprise to absolutely nobody. At first, the adventure feels like a cookie-cutter experience with a bit of juvenile self-aware humor thrown in. And then everything takes a turn for the worse. Your main source of income is to bury the bodies of the dead. It sounds easy enough until you learn that the pittance you get for doing so is not even close to the amount of money you will need to purchase most of the essentials to take you up to the next level. By the time you make it to that point, the funeral cart decides that it hates you and refuses to work until you supply it with gears and crops. Meanwhile, the local bishop refuses to let you earn more money until you purchase a permit that will allow you to make money again, with the only caveat that the permit in question requires that you make money in order to buy it. The aforementioned bishop then proceeds to be the most insufferable asshole in the universe by moving the goalposts on you and never warning you in advance that he is about to remove your source of income. If you want to sail it smoothly with the complete and absolute miscarriage remain that he is, you will want to stock up on a massive amount of cash before you let him know that you did the thing he asked you to do. The problems do not end with him, because many of the characters will demand items that are difficult to obtain so as to progress their questline. If you are especially unlucky, you will realize that you are out of the requisite item while you are being professionally strangled by the bishop, which means that you have to figure out some way to sell off your production to the local merchants. This would be fine and good in theory, except even that part is less than faithful in its application. If the vendor does not sell the item, you cannot sell a copy of it to him. It makes sense that a blacksmith would only purchase blacksmith-related items, but things are taken so literally that the bartender will happily purchase your Silver Star wine, yet refuse to even look at your higher quality Gold Star wine. Let me repeat that for emphasis. In many cases, you have to make subpar bullshit on purpose to get the merchants to buy your items from you. The only way to figure out the mess is to keep the game's official wiki website open in another window and look at the description and uses for each item before you go out and obtain it. If you are playing the base game without any DLC, some of the items do patently nothing. There is even a workshop in the game that does nothing different from its predecessor. Do not build the level 2 printing press. It does nothing special. Do not produce the curved wood item unless you have the DLC, because that item does nothing at all, and yet the base game allows you to research and build it. It takes an incredible amount of repetitive effort before you can pull yourself out of the hole, and there is no telling when you will get the rug swept off your feet again. Financial paranoia is the only way to go about it. You have to pretend like this is real life and that the inflation rate is about to fuck you in the ass so hard that you can suck its dick from the inside out. You have to spoil the game for yourself because it is the only way you can be truly prepared for what it throws at you and hopefully save a few hours of tedium. I did not prepare, and that gave me a base playthrough of about 40 hours. A great portion of these hours were spent doing the same thing over and over again so as to earn enough money or obtain a particular item. Towards the endgame, the requested items can even be driven by chance rather than perseverance, and it means yet more mindless repetition in order to get the one last little bit that will complete the last quest line so that you can get on with the end credits at last. And even when everything is all said and done, the things are not truly said and done. You cannot ever go into the town south of the village, and the reasons for that are explained in the DLC. You died, and you literally woke up as the graveyard keeper, and the reason for this is explained in the DLC. Most of the loose ends get tied up in the base game, but if you still have burning questions in your mind, you always have to purchase the DLC. I did not purchase the DLC. Considering what has been given to me for the base price, considering what were the end results of my in-game efforts, considering how my advances backfired on me, considering how there was always the promise of more, and yet it never delivered when it was time to, considering how I have been made to run in circles, all while having the absurdity of it thrown in my face, considering how it was not ignorance, but conscious malice, because the characters themselves commented on the situation and proved that it was not a design oversight. I see no reason to go above and beyond. Instead, I will just act my wage. In short, this game is a return to office order.